Hello, thank you for joining our platforms. You had an opportunity to join us. You would have met the beautiful Chanel Rigby. And she had a great class today, and we are sitting here today to get up close and personal with her, just as we promised. So I hope you're in the room. Make sure you share this page so that others can get to know Miss Chanel Rigby. She is energetic. She is motivated. She's a chameleon with so many different crafts, so many different elements of her. So we're going to get to know a little bit about her. So welcome, Chanel.
Thank you very much.
We're so excited to have you today. We're going to talk a little bit today about your fitness. We're going to go into your career, how you got started into fitness, and just some of the things that you do that inspired you to become a fitness instructor and just inspire your fitness lifestyle now.
Yes.
And maybe we can grab some tips and give some tips out there to those that are watching us tonight. So when me and you had our interview a little bit earlier today, you told me that you became a fitness instructor in 2018, that was?
Yes.
All right. And you became a dance fitness instructor.
Yes. So
Right.
2018, I became a certified instructor.
Certified instructor.
Yes.
So what inspired you to actually want to become a fitness instructor?
So as a child, I was extremely active, very energetic. I played basketball, I ran track, I did cheerleading, I did step team, I did drama. I led my own sort of dance group, dance crew in high school, in college. I was the choreographer, so I was always active. And for me, I loved dance. I loved to be expressive. And as I got older, then I realized that dance and movement is what kept me fit. And so once I saw that I love dance, but I wanted to mix it up and get a little bit more creative, because I love the way it made me feel after.
Yes.
And I realized, like, oh, that's exercise.
I know.
That's
and
exercise.
and that's something like we do growing up in our
Yes.
house. You know, you put the music on, you dance.
And
You
you
don't
just-
realize that you actually are exercising.
That's right.
You know, and that's that. I have to say that dance fitness is one of my favorite
Yes.
cardio fitness modalities because if you love music and you love dancing, you bring that combination together is absolutely amazing. Right?
Absolutely.
So I know that during class, a lot of your music was Caribbean based.
Yes.
You told me you were born here in Brooklyn, right?
Yes.
Born and raised in Brooklyn. Was Caribbean music a part of your household growing up? Is that what inspired a lot of your selections of music in your playlists?
Absolutely. So first of all, if you check out my pictures, you check out my videos, you come to the classes, you'll always see my little flag
Guyana.
here. Yes, and this is the flag of Guyana. And both I am first generation born in the U.S. And it is such a big part of who I am as a person. It is my identity, and music was such a huge part of my upbringing. My dad was a DJ, you know, and he would play the reggae music, and he would play the dance hall and the old school. And then in Guyana, they have something that they do called a Guyanese waltz, and it would be to the oldies, so songs of the 60s. So it would be the American music. So we would have sort of this fusion of cultures, and you'd hear everything, and music was everything. And you know, music evokes emotion. So culture is definitely something that inspires me. So I take it with me everywhere I go, and it's a part of my identity. And the music, Caribbean music, is so creative.
I know.
So creative, from the sound to the rhythm, the beats, whatever it's saying, whatever I want to communicate through my body or with words, I could find a song. So if you noticed in my playlist, if you were in the class, you know, we start off a little bit, we want to warm up so the tunes are a little smooth, okay, or what they might call groovy soca. And then once we pick up, we'll get into the power soca, right? Or like Jab Jab, we had Mr. Killer in there, you know, the different types of sounds. Or then we had a tune from Porgy, so like Bayesian like to walk up, so the beat is going to sound like that. And then we had Panta Rankin, that was the fusion of like the African music, so it sounds similar to the Caribbean. So things that'll get you going. And then as we slow down at the end, I had a little Kes, and then I went into Bob Marley. Because not only is it like slow pace, but it's like for your mind.
Bob Marley.
That's right. So then we're stretching, we're cooling down, we're breathing. So you could just, I mean, it's a whole adventure. You know?
when you create your playlist, when
Yes.
you prepare
Yes.
your playlist, we definitely going to get a little bit more into your history, but
Yes.
when you prepare your playlist, you consider what the vibe of the music is
Yes.
to begin, and how you want to kind of bring them in, and then at what
Yes.
level you want to bring them up,
Yes.
and then where you want to bring them back
Yes.
back down, and
Yes.
kind of mellow them out. I noticed that your breather kind of flowed right into your cool down.
Yes.
Right. So it was a nice transition. I did like that.
Yes.
And when you take time to really put your music together and put those songs in the place where they should be, where they flow together,
Yes.
and also the tempo level where you want them to be, like warming them up and then getting their heart rate to that level,
Yes.
where they're fat burning stage, and then bringing them down slowly, and then giving them that excellent stretch that you did on the floor, so that they walk away feeling complete.
Absolutely.
So I love the fact that you use your music and your body to kind of get that message out to them.
Yes.
So your journey started with Shape NYC in 2014? No, 2017.
In 2017,
right?
yes. I did a training class with Shape Up NYC, and that's through the Department of Recs here in NYC. I went on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning, just to learn. Because like I said, I've always been a physically fit person because I've been active. But then it's like, I know I'm moving this leg, but instead of me saying move your leg, and now I know there's a calf, there are quads and hamstrings, so you need
so
sort of like the education behind it, more information. I know
the
that
kinesiology of yes.
Absolutely. So I know that when I whine, I use my abs, I use my glutes, and I use my thighs too, and my legs to stabilize. But now I know that, okay, a whine is just a squat with some seasoning on top of it.
With some seasons.
You know what I'm saying? And that's my thing. And that's what it is. Taking all of those structural things. I just needed that background knowledge. And then when I go out there and I do my thing, make it simple and fun. But in reality, we are exercising. We're doing real exercise. But it just looks all wacky and fun and playful.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Exactly. Now, I noticed that you're wearing a shirt that says Free Up.
Yes.
You told me that you came up with that name in 2014. What inspired that name?
So Free Up. I think I'd say that in that time of my life and what was happening with me, I was just going through a lot. And let me see, in 2014, how old was I? This is 2020. I was like in my mid-20s.
Yeah.
And so just going through what a mid-20 or 25-year-old, I guess, would be going through. And just having different issues and not feeling free.
Yes.
And feeling held back and and just bogged down.
Yes.
And I had a friend at the time in college who was going to school for graphic design as a graphic artist. And I said, can you just make this thing for me? The other thing is the term Free Up. The convenient thing about the term Free Up is every Caribbean song says free up, free up,
you
free
had a
up
song
yourself,
on the playlist
free
today
up.
that said Free Up. I was like, wait, did she choose that song?
All the songs say free up. So I was like, all right, So
that was definitely easy.
All the
to
songs
kind of,
say free up. I could get a song.
You did. I was
so
like,
many
she
songs.
picked the Free Up song
The name
tonight.
of the song is Free Up. So they made this song for me. So it was also a Caribbean thing. Just free up yourself.
Okay.
So you're tense. Free it up a little bit. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense for me. But in 2014, this was just something that my friend made. I never thought at that time, like, girl, this is your logo for your company.
Yes.
I never thought about that.
Yes.
So I held on to it for a very long time.
So you've been on your fitness journey technically since 2014 because you created the name for it and didn't realize you were on that journey, right?
Yes.
But you've been fit pretty much all your life because you were so active growing up. And I just want to go back a little bit to when you talked about some of the things that you did in high school and college.
Yes.
And I know that you said you had a dance team.
Yes.
And growing up, I was in the Girl Scouts.
Yes.
And me and my sister, and we had this dance crew, and I still got the photo. We had this leotard, and we had those gray leather pants. Listen, I remember making choreography at the age of 12 and 13 years old, right?
Yep.
And it's crazy because I never knew that later on in life. In fitness, I would have to create my own choreography and present that to others. But, you know, the core of it, the inspiration and the dance and the element was right there at such a young age. So how was it putting this crew together, and what did you guys accomplish through this crew? What were some of the things that you did? And what was the name of the crew? Let's start there. Give me the crew name.
So both in high school and in college, we were the dance hall queens. It was DQZ. DQZ, then we had DQX, we had DQZ Part 2 or whatever. It was dance hall queens because two things that were so inspiring. One was, if you've ever seen the actual Dancehall Queen movie, the Jamaican movie. That was one. Okay. I remember in high school gathering all my friends up for them to come to the house so we could watch the movie and say, see, you see how those girls are dancing in that movie? I remember gathering the girls up, and the other one was Sean Paul. So as you can see tonight on the playlist, I had, I think, Feel Alright. Yes. In early 2000 in high school, Sean Paul was just breaking barriers with the videos and his choreographer at the time. Yes. She's my favorite, and I had the chance to meet her on several occasions, Tanisha Scott. Nice. And she danced in the videos too, but just him giving her the opportunity to just do her thing and the things that they both came up with, he really sort of broke the barriers with the dancing. And it was a big thing when I was in high school. So those were big inspirations for us. So I got the crew together. The other thing about it was so organic. The costumes that we used to wear, I used to just draw on them. They were drawn and painted. Oh, wow. They were drawn and painted. And we would go to Walmart, get the little tights, and then I would get the little packages of undershirts.
So you put the crew's outfits together.
Yes.
Now, what were some of the, I know you put this crew together, but you put this crew together, was it for a reason?
In high school, we specifically had, I had the step team, and then we also had something called Caribbean Fest, which my friends and I were a big part of that as well, keeping that sort of culture alive. Because in the community I grew up in, and that was in Florida, we had a lot of Caribbean people, a lot of people from up north. And we wanted to do something to celebrate. You know how Caribbean people are. Yes. We gotta do something. So in high school, we were doing that. We had food, we had music, we had DJ, we had performances. Wow. And we did it, and that was high school. Now in college, you have more of an opportunity to perform. So we just got the crew together again. I went with my best friend at the time. She went to high school with me. We went to the same college. You know, other people who went to high school with me as well, and other girls that we met along the way. So then I got even better at creating, you know, and then there's the process of coming up with the theme and then getting the music to match, because as we know, Caribbean music is just so diverse. So getting the theme, getting the music to match, and then creating the costume, and just creativity. That's really what it was.
So did you take professional dance, or it was just what you did within the your dance crew?
No professional
dance.
Self-taught. It's just
self-taught.
Innate. That's what I say. It's innate. You know,
self-taught by Sean Paul and Tamika.
Exactly. By Sean Paul and Tanisha, right? And then just for family gatherings. Like some of the first dances that I learned was the electric slide. So think about coordination.
Oh, you know, my goodness, that's a big one. Slide will never die.
Okay, coordination, right? And then the dollar wine.
Yes.
Again, getting the little rotation down here, but, you know, and then for me, I'm an 80s baby, so 90s dance hall. Two of the first dances that I learned was the bogle and the butterfly.
And the
butterfly. Yes. Hey. So I grew up in that sort of environment, and so dancing was encouraged, and it was just the thing that we did. So, I mean, that's another thing. This is why I push Free Up, because we're talking about culture. You're going to have a lot of people jacking culture and calling it their own, or saying that they discovered it. At the end of the day, listen, you go in somebody's backyard, you're going to see their grandma and their grandpa doing the dances. They didn't go anywhere to learn that. That's culture. What are you talking about? That comes from right here.
Right inside. That's what you learn.
You understand what I'm saying? So, you know, but it does make it hard when you do go out into the structured places where people are learning. And I never did that because I love ballet. Never have I ever been a ballerina, but I've owned little ballet shoes.
Not easy,
You know, I can point my toes. Yes, I do. Yes,
oh,
I
you tried
do.
to do point too?
Not point shoes,
nice.
but the little flat ones.
Okay.
But I've owned ballet. I own ballet shoes.
Yes.
I love ballet.
Yes.
I've never been trained as a ballerina, but I've gone to, the first time I went to a ballet class was at the age of 26.
And you know, it's
just,
crazy because when they say you get at a certain age, they say that you just cannot learn ballet, and I refuse to believe that. I'm like, all right.
I refuse to. I think you
know?
do have to commit to it.
You have to commit
You
to
have
it,
to
and you have to
commit.
really and get and prepare the body,
That's
and you
right.
have to, you know, allow the body to do things that you're not used to doing,
That's
and
right.
stretching in ways you're not used to stretching. So
That's right.
it's definitely a commitment.
Yes.
I remember reaching out to you in
Yes.
January.
Yes.
And I wanted to bring you on as a guest instructor then.
Yes.
And you told me that you were going to do fitness on a cruise ship. I was so excited for you. So
Yes.
I know back in January you worked on a Disney cruise ship, and
Mhm.
also you were there throughout the pandemic. How
Yes.
was that?
So, first of all, I actually went on the ship as a performer.
Mhm.
So
when you say a performer, as a dance performer, or
I was actually a character performer on the ship.
what does that mean? Character?
I was a character performer on a Disney cruise
one of the
ship.
Disney. So what character?
So the thing is, you know, there's only one of each. I don't really know what you're saying. I don't understand what you're saying. But I was a character performer. I don't understand what you're saying.
So how did you enjoy that?
Okay, so
Let me know.
So the thing is, Disney is a part of my history.
Mm-hmm.
Not only as a performer, but just as a child, and the memories of having like a cassette tape in a plastic cassette and a VCR, which these kids will never know about.
They'll never know.
They'll never
Yes.
understand what that meant to have
That-
your row
look.
of Disney movies. They'll
No.
never understand that, right?
Yeah.
But that was my childhood.
Okay.
But 15 years ago, I worked for Disney World in Florida as a character performer.
You know, I've never been to Disney World.
You've never been
I
to
have
Disney World?
I know. I have to be a big kid and make my way down Disney
at
World.
least once, so you can see it and say
Amazing.
like, all right, great, I've been there. You
Wow,
know?
so you're a character performer. So
Absolutely.
you have history.
I
with
have
Disney.
history with Disney, and it's just a big piece of my heart, you know. And that's kind of where I got my start for like feeling for performance or building my confidence, I should say, because I had been performing in high school, but the Disney job was as I left high school and just building up my endurance, building up my ability to get on and perform and to interact with people.
Yes.
But I did it 15 years ago, and I stumbled upon the auditions in New York City in 2019. And I went to the audition at the age I am now with a lot of younger people around me. And I was in there like, bam, 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 bam. And then they were like,
Nice.
2 weeks later, they were like, would you come on a ship and come do this for us? And I was like, yeah, I'll come do that.
I mean, it's definitely a great experience.
Yes.
And I know that during quarantine, there were a lot of problems on cruise ships.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how did that affect did you have that problem on your cruise ship? How did
For
you
our
guys function?
particular vessel, for the vessel that I was on, we did not have that problem. And to be quite honest, what happened is for the first 2 weeks, we had passengers, and then we would no longer accept passengers.
Okay.
And the way that Disney did it, they were very creative with it, because for a long time I didn't realize that we were in quote-unquote quarantine.
Oh.
So they did really well at keeping us calm and keeping us well and taking care of us. And we were seeing things on television, but not quite putting it together, because then they were implementing social distance practices on board. And for us, it's like, okay, let's just do this, what they told us to do, but not realizing how intense it was
really
outside.
was outside, yeah.
You know, so we were really safe and well kept on the ship, and we had lots of fun, of course. You know, and it was such a great experience, probably an experience that I would never have again, because of this particular situation.
Exactly.
You know, so we ended up like performing for our crewmates on the ship, and just quite an experience.
So did you wind up on the ship longer than you anticipated?
Not at all. We were supposed to return. We got on the ship in February. We were supposed to return in September. I ended up leaving in April because they started to send us home as they were seeing that things weren't getting better outside and just making the best decisions for us at the time. And a lot of the countries were closing their borders, and there was a lot going on. So if I could have gone home at the time, then it was like, all right, go home. and then we'll pick back up with you another time when, things are well again.
So what were some of the ports that you guys were exploring?
Okay, so a new port for me was St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. We did go to Tortola, we went to Cayman Islands, we went to Mexico, we went to Jamaica, and then we were supposed to go to, I believe, St. Kitts and Martinique and Puerto Rico, and I think St. Lucia too, but we didn't make it that far.
So did they actually stop the ship? You guys were in the middle of the ocean? Did you dock somewhere?
We had many days where we were docked in the ocean, like off the coast of Florida. We were going back. Oh, we also went to the Bahamas because Disney has a private island in the Bahamas.
Oh, nice.
We would go to the Bahamas. We would go to Cape Canaveral, and then we would dock somewhere off of the coast of Florida because at some point Bahamas had closed their borders, and then we couldn't get off the ship. But it wasn't my experience on my ship with Disney, on my particular vessel, wasn't like we're trapped and we can't get off. They took care of us. So half the time it was like, my favorite place was to be on deck 4, and that was with the ocean, with the sun, and with the breeze.
Oh,
so
nice.
That was my experience there.
So we're going to just stay a little bit more on your fitness,
Yes.
because I want to dig in just a little bit deeper as to Free Up and what that's all about and the meaning behind it. So I know that we know you created the name Free Up,
Yes.
Back in 2014, not knowing that you was going to be on this amazing journey into fitness and into your own brand.
Yes.
So what inspired you to actually create that brand and take Free Up, just the name, to another level?
Yes, so Free Up. So Free Up is my baby. Free Up is art in motion.
Yes.
That's what it is, art in motion. So full name of my business, Free Up Caribbean Movement, Arts and Entertainment. And then what you saw today was Free Up Fitness. And what happened is I am a very creative person. And I feel like Free Up Caribbean Movement will then be an umbrella for many creative outlets, right? And so the sort of tagline that goes along with Free Up Caribbean Movement is maintaining wellness through creative expression. So one of my expressions is dance. And that's what you see the most of as I continue to build onto it.
And creative wellness is everything. Like, because it's first it starts mentally. So, you have creative wellness mentally and creating through that, and then, within the physical, within the spirit, all of those things. So is that that's some of the things that kind of falls under that umbrella?
Yes. So I like to say, while we have fun, self-improvement is always important. It's always there. It's always present. So for me, the reason why it's so colorful, and I have my fatigue on and my, it's a colorful expression, but at the same time, it's rooted in wellness. So we're talking about wellness of the mind, body, soul, and spirit.
Okay.
So when I explained, what the format of the class is, what the meaning is, if you take a look like on the page, and you'll see some self-care tips for this time that we're going through.
And just give your viewers that website.
The website is freeupcm.com, and that'll give you a little bit more of an eye into it. So that's freeup, the letters C&M.com, and a little bit more about how it sort of has this sort of many parts moving is I am a social worker. And
now we're going to get into that.
Oh, yes. We're going to get there.
Don't take away my questions.
That's right.
Let's stay on subject.
Yes. Sorry. Just get excited. Yes.
So, no, now having that, and I guess when I had my question, what does fitness mean to you?
What does fitness mean to me?
And I'm a lot of that you kind of implemented, but just give me a little bit more of kind of what fitness means to you, and how that kind of can relate to your followers or those that are taking your classes.
So fitness to me is being well. Sometimes you'll hear or see people setting their fitness goals, and it's like, 2 pumps of the barbell and a couple jumping jacks and some push-ups here and there. And what you need to understand is, in order for you to make physical improvements, your mind has to be in it. You have to be taking care of your body. So what are you nourishing yourself with? Are you hydrating as you should be? You understand? It's just not a magic trick, or there are many products out there that they throw at you that promises a week or a couple days or a couple months. It doesn't work like that. It takes work. So first it's a decision, so it's mental, and in your heart you're going to make the commitments. And in your soul and in your spirit, if you're going to continue to keep up with it. So it is a total commitment, and it takes all parts of you. So for me, I am a very anxious person. So I've dealt with anxiety a lot. And so just being able to find creative ways of getting it out.
And I'm glad that you kind of tapped a little bit on that, because anxiety, it can sound simple, right? But it's absolutely a condition that a lot of people suffer from, and sometimes they realize that they're not suffering. I mean, sometimes they don't even realize that they're suffering from anxiety.
Right.
The simple things as like extra sweating or slight palpitations. And you don't realize that. And I know so many friends that go through anxiety, and there are natural ways to deal with that.
Absolutely.
And like you said, how you had anxiety and you took fitness, and that's kind of how you dealt with it. So those that are dealing with anxiety right now, that are actually watching us, what tips would you give them as far as dealing with the anxiety and how the fitness and maybe the music and all of those things can fit in?
Absolutely. So exercise is just one of the many ways, or one of the many coping skills that you could use for our coping, a way to cope with anxiety. And for me, I kind of mixed it all in one. So I have the physical movement
that you can take for granted.
Yes.
Because it's a natural thing that you do.
Exactly.
From the day that you're born.
Exactly.
Just like take it for granted to maybe walk outside and look up at the sky.
Yes.
Like, how often do we just look up?
Yes.
Right? And take in that moment.
And the sunlight.
And the vitamin
which you're
D
talking about right there, the
need.
sunlight. To then also to help with mood.
Yes.
Also, checking into other things. Am I resting enough? Am I getting enough water? Am I eating well? You're not eating well enough, it messes with your brain. When I feel really, really emotional, what I usually do is sing. It makes me sing. Right? When I feel really emotional, then I would want to sing. There's certain songs. I listen to Bob a lot when I'm really, really low.
Yeah.
Because the words are so meaningful. So I listen to Bob a lot. I do my art. There's so many different outlets, to sort of like get the tension out. And I think the other part of like free up and identity is being okay with living in your skin.
Again, that's I love the way you said that. You have to be comfortable with yourself and live in your skin. Yes. We have just so many things that we look at ourselves in the mirror. We may not like this. We may not like that. I think we are our worst enemies a lot of times when it comes to our physique or how we look, how we dress. Sometimes comparing yourself to others. Yes. And I find that especially in the fitness world, where you can be shooting for a gold, and you walk in there and you may see these women in there in half tops and biker shorts, half top and biker shorts today.
Listen, I wanted to free up. I wanted to be free.
But you have, but that's where you have to know that, okay, my body's not her body.
That's right.
My body cannot be shaped like her body.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
She can wear clothes and look different than I look. So you have to be comfortable in your body, and when you own it, then it fits you.
Absolutely.
Right?
And in terms of like body, like these muscles on my arms, I don't know if they're as defined as they used to be when I was a little girl. Because when I was a little girl, I had muscles.
We all have.
And it was such a big deal. The little boys would be like, make a muscle, or I would get made fun of. And then it turned as we were exiting high school, because then, you had some people who were,
it's
and I was
really
so
crazy
ashamed for a long time.
No,
I don't want to show my muscles.
But that's kind of like a stigma too, because growing up, right, a lot of times, and you know, it may not be, of course, it's not for everyone. But,
Yes.
you know, if you're not thinking about weight
Yes.
and you're just constantly active,
Yes.
you know, you don't really think, okay, I have to lose weight or I have to gain weight or,
Right.
you know, just my weight, period.
Right.
Then when you reach a certain age, you know,
Mhm.
normally in your 20s
Yes.
or in college,
Then you start getting
okay, wait a minute, no, I have to check this, I have to check
Yes.
this. And you may not even realize that you had definition in your arms
Yes.
and that women are trying to get that,
Yes.
you know? So,
Yes.
and what came naturally to you because you were just naturally active
I was
throughout
just
your life.
I was just active and I was just myself. But then the problem is, like you said, when you listen to other people or the criticisms or you're watching other people comparison, they let me know that there was something odd about my arms. You know, so I used to hide it for a long time. But then when I got to college, then it was like, oh, y'all like this? Y'all think this is cool? Oh, okay. And so,
Yes.
you know, Free Up is also just my journey.
Yes.
Because today, like you said, I came out in these little shorts and I have my
Mhm.
little cut up top and I'm showing my arms and I'm
Mhm.
raising my arms up and I'm doing all these things. And
Mhm.
I have many insecurities, but at the end of the day, it's free up, you know? So it's like
Yes.
me just being able to release that and just be myself and be okay with me. And being my natural self, it just flows.
And you know, you have some women who may have definition in muscular arms who do not like that, who
Yeah.
feel that it may look, you know, just too masculine.
Yes.
And then you have those women that want to get that
Yeah.
and more,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, you know, that's where it's like where you really have to be comfortable in your skin because
Yes.
it depends on who you encounter.
That's right.
And then, you know, as to how they may have you question your own stuff, right?
Yes.
You know, I had someone ask me about how I was going to do my hair for something, right? Whether I was going to wear a wig.
Oh.
I hope
Why?
you're watching. You know who I'm talking to. Right? So I was like, no. And I'm
What?
driving home and I'm like, well, maybe I should get a wig. Now, I haven't worn a wig ever in my life. And I'm like, maybe I should get a wig.
Maybe I needed a...
Maybe I do need a wig, right? And I
Yes.
call up a friend and I'm like, well, I don't know nothing about wigs, how to get a wig, what they cost,
You
nothing,
need
where
a
do I
wig.
start? She's like, Cassie, you don't need no wig. She's like, I don't know why I put you in a wig. You know, and I'm not knocking you ladies with wigs. 'Cause
Right,
you
right.
can
But
really
it makes you
kill
question
but it just
yourself,
wasn't
though. It was
me.
like, wait, what?
Right, so I didn't want to step out of who I was. And
Yes.
it was like for that one moment.
Like,
You know,
wait, wait,
and yes, so you know, you kind of really have to be comfortable with who you are.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to try new things.
Yes.
You know, and step out of your comfort zone, but know who you are and what
Yes.
works for you and what doesn't work for you.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, so I hope you're watching me because I'm talking about
Hey.
you. Yes, I am.
And we both hear because I
Uh-huh.
heard what she said.
So we're going to kind of like just trail us down a little bit
Yes.
and get to. I want just a few more questions for you. I wanted to know a fun fact about you. If there's someone out there watching, they know what Free Up is. They know you know
Yes.
what your inspirations are. But what is that one fun fact about you that maybe they just don't know or haven't seen?
I guess I would say the arts, the painting. I paint and I draw. So I do a lot of like cartooning. I do illustrations actually, and then my paintings are more of like faces, images. I had a I have a really great friend. She is an artist out here in Brooklyn, and she would host sessions, and her way of doing it is that she would put an image on a board, and it just sits you in front of the board. And then based on what you see there, or at least for me, I had the freedom just to create. So I would see what she put on the board, and then I would just see all these different things, and I would just make something new. And just from that, her and I built a relationship, and we're really cool until this day. That's Tiffany B. Chanel.
Ah.
And we have a similar name too. Really cool person, but really sort of sparked my interest
Yes.
back into painting again, because I am more of a drawer, you know.
And you know, I tell when I encounter people, I tell them, look, we have so many elements of us.
Yes.
We are not just one thing,
Yes.
right? You could work a job for 25 years, you can retire on that job, but you are not just that job.
Yes.
You are not just that career.
Yes.
Right? So, you know, we were created to be creative.
Yes.
Right? And co-create.
Yes.
So, you draw, you're into fitness, you know, you've done your dance,
Yes.
you created your brand.
Yes.
your career is actually focused in on social work, and you have a master's in that.
Yes, I
do.
do.
You did it, baby. You did it.
Yes, I do.
So right now you're 11 years in.
Yes.
Just tell us a little bit about your career as a social worker.
Yes, so Chanel, the social worker. I am an MSW, a master's level social worker. Social work was a career that chose me. I didn't choose it. I didn't even know what it was. And then when I passed exam, you know, but at the end of the day and every single day, you know, my commitment is to children and families.
Okay.
And when we talk about progression of people, you know, when we talk about the future, when we talk about just making life better, when we talk about impact, when we talk about commitment, when we talk about being effective as people, when we talk about leaving our mark, when we talk about doing something meaningful in life,
yes.
My effort always goes to the babies. And then the people who create them and who are given the responsibility to then take care of them.
Nurture, yes.
Okay, so I work for the kids. That's where my heart is. And at the end of the day, as I get older in my journey, they're going to be taken over at some time. And so that's where I put my efforts. So I've worked in schools, I work in the homes, I work in the community. I currently work for an organization that works within the early child care setting. So I've worked across the spectrum of life, but I found that like early intervention, which is then prevention, you know, providing that support and that guidance and that information at that point, you know, the thought is that as you progress in life, you would be a better person if we drop the seeds in you earlier on. So for me, like social work, it's so broad, and I call it people work, or I call myself a professional people watcher. You can put yourself anywhere at any time. I could fit in any spot, anywhere I want to go. I can be as creative as I want. If I knew I want to go get my license, so I could go do private practice.
Yes.
You know, wherever I want to go, whatever I want to make, and Free Up has a piece of that in it too, being that there's the meaning of being yourself and connecting with self and doing lots of reflection and being comfortable with who you are and self-care.
And, you know, that's also a way to implement into your social work the Free Up, not only what the meaning of it is, but the music and the dance, and kind of bring, sometimes music and dance can bring healing into families.
Absolutely.
And also bring them together, especially if you have children that are going through obesity, and the household is not a health conscious household. You know, that's like a way to kind of bring that and implement that in.
Absolutely.
Now, I know you deal with early childhood. Throughout the pandemic, I know it has been a rise in domestic violence and child abuse. How has, you know, how has that affected you in your work schedule? Have you seen that rise? You know, do you feel that those numbers are accurate?
So that is a very, very difficult one, and even in like normal day-to-day functioning. You know that children are going home to places where environments may be very unpredictable. We don't have control over that. It's a hard one to answer because my particular role right now doesn't necessarily deal with that. But because you're coming into contact with people, it doesn't necessarily have to be a client. It could be the colleague that sits next to you at the desk. You know, so it could really be anyone. As a perpetrator or as a person on the receiving end of the abuse. You know, so for me, it is a hard one because whether we're in the pandemic or not, a lot of these things were going on anyway. You know, and so when you talk about protective factors, when you talk about education, when you talk about resources in the community, you know, sort of putting into those parts of society, they then impact the occurrences of abuse and domestic violence. So the system, you know, works together in rotation. So the thing about being a social worker and having a heart, I had to create boundaries for myself. I am not a superhero. I can't save everybody. And even with the clients you work with, you're going to understand that there's no fix and there's no cure to anything. You learn how to cope. You learn how to deal with things. So you provide information, you provide some guidance, you provide resources, but the individual has to make choices, you know, to take them into whatever direction they want to go. So I have to choose where I'm going to make my impact. Right? That's the easiest way that I could answer that question, because I don't directly work in that right now. But I am aware, and I do believe that the numbers are a close situation. So, you know, it's not a good thing.
It's not kind of hard. It's not if it was, you know, a home that had domestic violence or child abuse, and you know, the child went to school, and you know, so, and there was interactions with other people that maybe can pick up on those things.
That's right. School is a safe haven.
So, yeah. You know, so if there's anyone watching tonight as a social worker, and they are going through domestic violence and child abuse, what resources would you recommend to them? Is there a hotline number or a website that they can go to? What resource would you give them right now?
So there's NYC Well. There's also 311, which would give you a wider variety of services that you can call into. But even if you can't readily access a phone or the internet, you know, a friend or a trusted family member that you could talk to, somebody else that has some connection to you, you know, on the outside of the home, or even a teacher that you've developed a relationship with, just someone else that you can talk to and reach out to. But you do have 311, you do have NYC Well, and if you do have access to the internet, you can definitely check out the 311 website as well. Like, search up some of those resources as well.
So thank you, Chanel, for giving them that information. I'm so excited to have you here with us tonight. The class was amazing, and to be able to sit here and just for me to get to know you. I thank you for opening up and allowing us to get up close and personal with you here at FitBK Backstage. I'm just going to segue just a little bit into Wednesday. We have an upcoming talk series, which is Passion for Life. And as you know, this is Domestic Violence Month, as well as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we're going to have providers on the show, survivors on the show, testimonials. So it's definitely a talk show that you would love to sit down and watch. It's going to be informative. We're going to have entertainment. So please join us on Wednesday from 7 to 8. Passion for Life. Together we fight. Together we win. So make sure that you chime in. I am Cassie.
And this is Chanel from Free Up.
Yes, and this is FitBK Backstage. Thank you for letting us into your home.
Thank you.